California, the Golden State, the land of sun, surf, and Silicon Valley, has long been a symbol of prosperity and innovation. However, the economic juggernaut, with wealth surpassing most of the world's countries, has been facing an exodus of business, talent, and residents. From suffocating economic policies to out-of-hand political ideologies, the Golden State's narrative is changing. Picture this: the 1948 gold rush, kickstarting a bonanza, luring fortune seekers from far and wide and laying the foundations for a prosperous future. Being on the other side of the country didn't deter folks. If anything, it fostered a strong commitment to the Golden State. Back in the day, once you made it that far, it was your forever American dream. Fast forward a little, and the immense bounty of natural resources and agricultural land turned California into an economic powerhouse. Its development was so fast that it attained statehood merely 2 years after its U.S. acquisition. However, the state did not shy away from diversifying its asset portfolio and capitalized on every opportunity that came its way, like a true American. From gold nuggets to pixels on a screen, the state's journey was a masterclass in diversification. Playing it smart and lucrative, it soon acquired the strongest piece on the chessboard: the power to influence culture with Hollywood. Its economic policies made sure that the West Coast was the go-to place for all filmmakers in the country. Today, Hollywood represents one of the most valuable industries in the world. In modern times, however, the most fortunate thing for California was that it was established as the epicenter of the big tech companies in the form of Silicon Valley. The agglomeration of tech giants like HP, Apple, Google, and Facebook created an innovation hub that attracted investors and the sharpest minds from around the globe. All this and more are reasons why California is not just the wealthiest state in America, but if it were a country, it would be the 5th largest economy in the world. As of 2023, its GDP stood at a whopping $3.8 trillion. However, now that the stage is set, it's time for a reality check. Even if a state is gifted with a blend of historical gold fever, natural resources, agricultural abundance, Hollywood glam, and tech brilliance, it can still head towards a decline if the managers of the state lose sight of what truly matters: the people and their quality of life. California is going through an exodus across the board. From big tech to born and raised residents, everyone seems to be switching to Team Red as they move down south, mostly to Texas. Why? Because unlike California, their economic policies didn't continuously try to squeeze out as much tax as possible. Starting with the common man, for one, the Golden State has a jaw-dropping top income tax rate of 13.3%, the highest in the country. Couple that with the 12th highest total tax burden, and you've got a financial cocktail that's proving too bitter for many. As for the common man's roof, California claims the title of having the highest in the nation, with a median house price soaring to $799,000. This is especially hitting middle and low-income residents, creating a societal imbalance with a shrinking middle class and a yawning gap between the affluent and the struggling. In terms of businesses, the state's dynamism and innovation are taking a nosedive as entrepreneurs flee to more policy-friendly states. The state's policy, in short, has been relying on volatile income taxes from a handful of wealthy individuals. For a business owner, such policies are top of the already demanding tax infrastructure, which has no leeway and is applied across the board, mean only one thing: pack their businesses, take their employees and their jobs, and open shop somewhere else. Speaking of business exodus, the biggest dent to California is coming from the increasing departure of the big tech companies. In terms of California's historical timeline of rise to the top, the current era could be termed as the big tech era. Silicon Valley has earned the title of tech capital of the world, and all the major companies like Apple, HP, Google, Facebook, and Tesla were housed in it, effectively creating hundreds of thousands of jobs jobs and generating billions of dollars for the Golden State. But this dream seems to be en route to its end. Since 2018, big tech and other companies have been bidding California farewell, with a whopping 18,000 businesses seeking refuge in states with friendlier tax and regulation policies. The most prominent examples are Elon Musk's Tesla, Hewlett-Packard, HP, and Oracle. To give you an idea of the state's business climate, the Tax Foundation rates it 48th in a country of 50 states. Apart from the obvious taxing reasons, these companies have also adapted a remote work culture. Companies no longer feel the need to set up shop in California to hire the most highly skilled individuals in the world, and people no longer need to make a pilgrimage to California's alluring tech meccas for the best-paying jobs. Numbers don't lie, and California's stats are painting a grim picture. Other states, on the other hand, are making full use of this opportunity by simply being more friendly to residents and business owners. For example, over 500,000 people left California during the pandemic years, while Texas and Florida welcomed 471,000 and 417,000 people in 2022, respectively. Per capita income growth is a mere 0.1% in California versus Florida's 2.7%, and in Texas at 3.4%. Total personal income declined by 0.2% versus Florida's 5% positive and Texas' 4.7% increase. And let's not forget the poverty rate standing at 13.2%, the highest in the nation and a hefty 35% above the national average. Though the economic reasons just mentioned are at the core of the California exodus, they're part of a tapestry of different reasons. There are social and political threads that are intricately woven into this narrative. Beyond taxes and business dynamics, the state is grappling with a demographic shift, an aging population, and a political landscape that's prompting residents to seek refuge elsewhere. The state's fertility rate tells a compelling story. It plummeted from above the national average in 2008 to the 7th lowest by 2020. This decline, predominantly among young adults in their 20s, is linked to shifting marriage trends. Fewer and fewer people in their 20s are tying the knot, which impacts their decisions about starting a family. A lower birth rate is by no means a good thing for the Golden State if it intends to keep the crown. A population collapse with fewer young blood will only add to the perils of the exodus. Aging baby boomer generation paints a picture of a state with an increasingly older demographic. This shift raises concerns about the shrinking labor force, as the state could begin feeling the effects as early as 2030. But it's not just the demographics at play. Political landscapes are shaping migration patterns. A growing number of residents are bidding farewell to the Golden State, seeking refuge in red states due to discontent with the leftist liberal policies. From concerns about LGBTQ+ policies to unease about the government's influence on education, traditional values are seeming at odds with California's progressive trajectory. As the state leans further left, a cultural and ideological gap emerges, pushing many towards the embrace of red state values. Then, of course, there are additional layers to this fall of California saga. Homelessness casts a dark shadow, a pervasive issue challenging the state's resilience. The alarming surge in crime rates adds a discordant value to the medley. A 6% increase in violent crime in 21 and 2022, coupled with a 10% spike in robberies in 2022, paints a troubling picture of public safety concerns. Even some government services are adding to the problem. Public schools rank 29th and trail behind states like Texas and Florida, signaling a struggle to provide quality education. Roads are the fourth worst in the country. It doesn't make sense for a state to have the highest taxes and not ensure even the most fundamental care for the public. In conclusion, it must be noted that this multifaceted saga, woven with threads of economic prowess, social dynamics, and political ideologies, isn't something conventional for California. It has always been fortunate with resources, location, and global events that allowed it to capitalize on opportunities that lasted decades. Now, with the world more connected and able to compete with state, it continues with the current social and economic policies. The failing trajectory will only go down. long-term effects could be daunting. The rise and fall of California, the state stands at a crossroads, beckoning introspection and change to reshape its destiny.